Hi, this is Bird from Birds SVGs, and in this video I'm going to be assembling the heart lantern, and that's from the Truly Madly Deeply SVG collection. So this is a luminary, but it could also be used as an elaborate gift box. But then of course, if you do use it as a gift box, then the recipient can use it as a luminary afterwards. Okay, so the first step we're going to do, just to make sure that we don't forget it, is we're going to be adding our layered panel onto the top piece of our lid. And this has to be an early step, because if we put the finial into place without putting our layer on, then it can't go on afterwards, it won't fit. So we're just going to put that into place. So what I did with my layers from my lid was I embossed them with an embossing folder, and then I ran some gilding wax over the top of them. Some silver gilding wax. Now of course, if you're going to be using a metallic finish on your cardstock, or a mirror card even, that would look great embossed, but you wouldn't need gilding wax. So just letting you know what I did with mine. So I'm going to be putting my finial together now. I'm folding along all of my score lines, and then the first step is I'm going to be gluing my little layer panels on top. And again, I embossed and added some gilding wax to these, even though they really are quite tiny, but I think it did add to the finished effect. It was definitely worth doing. So I'll just add all 4 of those into place. If you fold along your score lines before you add them, it makes the placement an awful lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to do the finial up. Just add some glue to that larger tab. And then above and below my little layers, there's these little triangular tabs. So systematically, one by one, I'm going to go around and add glue and make sure that these are all in place. And they actually add the shape to the top and the bottom of the finial. So I've done the top side, and now I'll do the underneath ones. And this is a really useful handle for your lid to take it on and off when you want to pop your lights inside. So keep working around, adding glue to your little triangular pieces. And once they're all done, then you've got just these little tabs to glue into place. Now it was getting a bit difficult for me to put my finger in there, so I've just grabbed a pokey tool and I'm smoothing along the tabs to make sure that they've all taken hold. You could use a pen, even, you know, any small tool that you've got on your craft desk. And then I've got this little top piece to just close off the top of my finial, and what I'll actually do is turn my pokey tool over and use the blunt side to push down on the inside and make sure the tabs are all glued into place. Okay, I'm going to start working on the sides of my lid. So first of all, I'm folding along all my score lines, and then you'll see, so I'm folding along all the tabs on the sides, but then you'll see there's a series of long score lines that are close together. So you just want to fold along each of them, and they'll form the gentle curve of the lid. Okay, so to assemble this, I'm adding glue to the big tab at the bottom of each side, and then letting that take hold before I start adding glue to the small tabs. Now on this first side, I was adding glue to each tab individually, but it's actually a lot easier to add glue to all of them, but still only add the pressure to each tab in turn, you know, allowing about 5 or 10 seconds per tab before you move on. It was just a little bit tricky to get in there with the glue. So just take a little bit of time and move your way up one tab at a time. And again, I'm just going to make sure that that bottom tab is fixed at a nice right angle before I add glue to my small tabs. So when you close this piece up, add glue again to the larger tab and make sure that that's glued at a nice 90-degree angle. And then once you're happy that that's taken hold, then just flip your lid over and then add the glue to the small tabs from the inside. Okay, I'm going to start working on my layers next, and I want to add some curve to them before I glue them into place, so they're already kind of taking shape, so it'll be nice and easy to pop them on. So I'm just using a bone folder and my thumb and just kind of encouraging a curve in each piece. I see I glued the lid on first. Okay, so I'm adding glue to one of the long tabs. And that then serves as a lever, because my lid is kind of where I want it to be. And then I can just lever it up, add glue to the other 3 long tabs. And then when I bend my lid back down, or the top of my lid, it'll be in exactly the right place. And then I just need to add a little bit of pressure onto the tabs from the inside. And then that's done. To pop the Finial into place, you just want to bend the tabs kind of inwards. Add some glue on the outside, which kind of feels a little bit strange. And then you want to bend each of the tabs outwards. Now, it'll kind of find its own kind of stopping point because they've got little score lines at the top of each tab. So you just want to put a little bit of pressure upwards and it will find its own place. Now I can add the layers that I added the curve to earlier. And I'm trying to add a thin but overall coverage of glue to my sides, my layers. Now I'm adding pressure along the bottom to make sure it's fixed and then smoothing it up over the curve. So work your way around each side, just doing the same. And again, these have all been embossed and had gilding wax added to them. So make sure the bottom is glued into place and then smooth it up over the curve. And that's your lid done, and we can move on to the lantern. Okay, so to make it a little bit easier for myself, I'm adding my vellum hearts into place. So the vellum on the front and the back of the lantern is in 2 pieces, and this is so the center heart is small enough to go through an embossing folder. If you don't want to emboss your heart panel and you would rather have the front and back vellum pieces in one whole piece, then you will find that in your bonus folder. Now I'm using red vellum. If you don't have red vellum, you can use normal vellum. That's no problem at all. Of course, you can colour plain vellum. You can use your inks or markers, or you can even run vellum through a printer and add colour that way. So there's lots of options. Right, this is my base piece, and I'm gluing one of my sides onto the end of it. Now when I glue my side on, I'm making sure that the top edge of my side is where the score line is. And you'll notice with your side pieces, and you'll know which are your side pieces because they're the only ones that have got teeth on. but the only one end has got a score line on it, and that goes at the top. Right, I've glued my front into place. Now I'm bending all of my teeth inwards. Now when I start off on my first side, or my first two sides really, I try not to add glue to too many teeth at a time, but as you go through the piece, you can add them to more and more. It becomes easier and easier to put together. Okay, so what I'm doing is I am trying to follow the curve with my right hand, and I'm pushing down with my left hand on the tabs so they'll take hold. So it's really easy. Whatever hand you've got on the inside of your piece, that's what's adding pressure to the tabs to get them to take hold. And whatever hand is on the outside, that's making sure that you're following a nice curve and there's no lumps and bumps. So I'm just bending the piece round with my right hand and I'm pushing down on the tabs on my left hand. Then I'll just do that top little tab, a little right angle. Okay, so this is my second side. Again, I'm folding in all of my teeth. And the end that's got the score line, that's what needs to be at the top of my lantern. Right, so I'm going to push in and try and form the curve on my left hand. And I'm pushing down on each tab in turn with my right hand. And you'll be surprised how quick these pieces come together. They kind of look like they might be a bit complicated or the shape might be difficult to achieve. Really, it's not. Okay, what I'm going to do now, before I add the other side on and kind of close my lantern up, is I'm going to add some of the vellum that I can do at this stage. Now, there's one piece that I can't do till the very end, but now some of the tabs are in place, I can put in this piece. You see how it overlaps some of the tabs? So I'm just going to add some glue kind of around the perimeter where it would go. So around the heart and around the outside edge. And then a little bit here and there. Of course, glue isn't always a great option for vellum and acetate and things like that because they're non-porous. So the glue can absorb. So it can spread a little bit, and also it may not be the best choice. If you've got double-sided tape, that could be a good choice here as well. I tend to use glue for speed and for ease. Okay, I can move on to my sides now because I can pop them into place. So again, I'm adding glue around the perimeter of the area where it'll be going on the side here. I know it's a bit tricky for you to see through the holes, but I hope you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. I'm just adding a few strips and a few dots here and there, but I'm certainly not covering the whole area. So I'm popping it in, and then I'm just kind of smoothing it to follow the curve, you know, the shape of the side. Kind of cupping it between my hands, but it goes into place, no problem at all. You shouldn't have any problem. Then again, I'll add some glue to the other side, pop my vellum in. So any electronic candle should work with your lantern because it's nice big size. Any pillar candle, any kind of bunch of LED lights, or any LED lights really, whether it's a string or whether it's one of the little units that have got several lights in. You shouldn't have any problem with any electronic lights that you have fitting in here. So I've just glued the little the extra base piece into place just to add a little bit of strength to the base, and then we can glue on the remaining side. Now because this is the last side, as you can see, the sides have already kind of got the curve that they need. So this time you can add glue to a lot more tabs at once. I think I added the glue to about half on this side, but on the other side in a minute I'll be adding glue to the whole side because it goes into place so easily on this second side. And of course this lights up all the way around, so not only would it be great on a sideboard say, but it could also be great in the middle of a table because the light shines all the way around, so you've got a 360 display. And at this point your lantern's already kind of in shape, so this side kind of almost falls into place. Sorry, I'm just adding glue to my last little tab at the top there. I'm kind of off camera. Okay, so that's our structure. I've got the last little piece of vellum to go into place now. So I'm going to add some glue inside there. I know you can't really see me popping that in, but when I put the vellum in, I'm folding it in half. I'm not creasing it, but I'm gently folding it in half to pop it inside, and then when I leave go with the vellum, it pops open into place. So that's the way I find it's easier to get my vellum in there without kind of disturbing the glue. Okay, so these are my top layers. Now the detail on this is a little bit smaller than the detail in the base, the lantern base itself. So it kind of gives it like a faux embossed look. And if you're going to be adding gilding wax to it like I did, it does really pick that up and gives it that kind of embossed look. As well as giving some more sturdiness to your lantern, of course. Now if you do find that when you're putting these overlay pieces on, that by the time you get to the end with gluing, the beginning bits are kind of starting to dry, because I know that can happen if you know, if you're not a bit swift with your glue, you can do the spatula trick. So you know the spatula that you use to get your pieces off your cutting mat, just add a little bit of glue onto the end of your spatula and just slide it under anywhere that's starting to lift a little bit, and that will sort that out for you. When I'm putting my sides into place, I needed to pay a little bit of attention to the design. And what you'll find is the very top of the side here is where the full heart goes. So the heart that's kind of cut off a little bit, that's the bit that goes at the bottom. I hope that makes sense. You can always offer it up to your lantern before you add any glue on, so you know that it's, you know, the right way around. So just cover the perimeter and put a few dots here and there, and then when you put it into place, just smooth it over, and it'll be enough to hold it. You don't have to cover the whole area. It's only paper, it will hold. And the lid just pops into place, so you can easily get in and pop your lights inside. Well, I hope you enjoy making and using or gifting your heart lantern, and I would love to see your versions, whether it's a completely different colour scheme or however you choose to embellish it. Feel free to share it on our Facebook page, or even better, in our Facebook group.